Kansas City Sports Update Studios. Welcome to Kingdom Radio, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Join Chris and Richard on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Player FM, CastBox, and all third-party applications. Check us out on Facebook platforms such as Kansas City Sports Update and Arrowhead Update. And if you cannot find us there, Google or search Kingdom Radio and Kansas City Chiefs, and you will find us. Welcome to the Kingdom. Kingdom. Welcome to Kingdom Radio. I am your host, Richard Smith. And, we typically cover the Chiefs and, Chiefs news and such. And tonight we have a different scenario, brought to the table with the coronavirus and everything that is in full effect with social distancing and small businesses taking a huge hit on this. What better time to really bring some innovation and awareness to the community about some, potential leads moving forward and some things that, can protect your asset that is your business. And tonight I have Christopher Meyers with me. He's the owner of Crane-Brewing-company in Kansas City. Christopher, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing all right. We're doing great. I really appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. This is an extremely important topic. It's so important that sports, the sports world, everything has been put on hold right now. We are under quarantine, practicing social distancing. The president spoke this evening about, possibly lifting some of these restrictions, so the economy can get back to, a stable point, or at least in that direction. And Chris, I've noticed a lot of things on social media the last few weeks, about you working with local businesses and you really speaking out about the importance of staying local and doing your research with products and, really, really, really knowing what you're buying, to impact your local economy. So, Christopher, I want to give you the opportunity to kind of give your opinion on this and the direction that you have taken, even with the curbside sales, with the brewing company and collaborating with other companies. Chris, what is your outlook on this, and what steps have you taken, to maintain your business, but also keep the community safe?
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely still in a day-by-day and week-by-week situation. We had the initial shutdown and then the extension, and now it's just been extended again till mid-May.
Right.
So it's trying to stay positive and look at the resources that we have and the team we have left. Before this started, we were distributing in 4 states, just a very small brewery, but have been fortunate enough to kind of share our beer all over. And almost immediately we got emails saying that all orders that have been placed, this from all our distributors, all orders placed are canceled. All future orders for the foreseeable future are canceled. And right before this, we had actually overbrewed because we had a big sales push coming up in one of our markets. And so we were sitting on, depending on how we sell it, anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000 worth of beer that we didn't know what we were going to be able to do with. So pretty much immediately we kind of shifted focus. What can we still do out of our tap room? The tap room business has been nice for people to come out and typically be able to enjoy their evening and have a few beers and hang out and get food from our partners there.
Right.
But without that, we didn't know what it was going to look like. We didn't know what kind of support we'd get. We didn't know if people would want to come out and even buy beer to go with the quarantine situation. Mm-hmm. So we pretty quickly we got an online store set up so people could conveniently place orders online. We never had that before, and that way we could just do curbside and run it out to their vehicles. They don't even have to come in.
Right.
But pretty quickly, we were seeing people coming in, every day. Obviously busier on the weekends, but I think once it's set into people that they really can't go out to bars, they really can't go out to restaurants. For some people who have lost their jobs, there's not a whole lot else they can do right now while they're waiting for something to happen.
Right.
And we one thing that really hurt us is, even though our business has been greatly impacted, again, we had to furlough all of our employees. We since have been able to kind of figure out a plan to bring some of them back so that we can keep brewing. Nowhere near normal production, but if we can fill a tank and get some beer made and get it out, that's great. And so we knew the people that are really hurting are obviously hospitality places, movie theaters, bars, restaurants, and these places, especially for most of our business, is how we sell our beer. These are the people that allow us to do what we do,
right,
which is brewing and sharing beer. So we got contacted and got in touch with friends of ours in the industry who started the KC Hospitality Support Initiative. It's a really great organization, just started, that their whole mission initially was getting gift cards to people who needed it so they could still get the food. And they've kind of shifted now that some of the stimulus money has come out, now that unemployment is kicking for people. But there's still a level of people in the industry that are underemployed. Maybe they are still getting to work for whatever bar or restaurant they're at, doing to-go sales, doing some food service, but it's still way cut back from what they would usually be earning.
Correct.
And so we're still supporting them. We did a batch of our beer, It's Just a Phase, and we did a special edition label and set aside a couple hundred cases to where all of this beer that's sold, percentage of those sales would go back to that group.
Mm-hmm.
One of the beers that we do year-round is called Thundergong, and it was one that we had overbrewed, and it's a great beer, but we didn't know how we were going to be able to sell it, and it just kind of occurred to me one day, one thing people could probably use right now is a good beer.
Absolutely.
And so we set aside a couple hundred cases of that and just blasted out there. If you're in the hospitality industry and you've lost your job, you've been cut back in hours, come by and get a free six-pack. And so we posted that for a while until we kind of went through that beer. But God, it's tough to see so many, going back to local businesses, how many local restaurants who've been in the city for decades, whose owners and employees have put so much work into them, how quickly they can kind of wither away.
Right.
And some of them are still limping along by getting to-go support, but some of them are down and may not ever reopen.
And
so
I think that's... go ahead, sorry.
I would say I'm just hoping, if there's going to be a positive side whenever things get back to normal, I'm hoping people just get that awareness, give a little more thought to their purchases, the local restaurants, especially now when you're home and you're doing a lot of home delivery anyways, kind of do your best. Maybe this is a good time to try a new restaurant, to try some new place, than some of the bigger companies.
Right, correct. And this has really been an eye-opener for a lot of businesses realizing that your business model had to change practically overnight. And if you were not, up on that power curve, within hours, business was declining, and different moves were being made as far as the quarantine and social distancing, and it just seemed it was a domino effect. One thing after another, happened, and it got to a point where the small businesses were standing there with their hands in the air, and so it really affected, obviously everybody, because nobody was prepared for it, but. And that's why I bring people, like you on the podcast, is because your innovative thoughts and you thinking towards the future and understanding, this economy is lacking right now, and there's no real direction. So somebody has to take the bull by the horns and really, lead some of these small businesses in a direction, because let's be honest, a lot of these things are even simply connecting generations. Because there's generation gaps between business and what the economy is right now. And a lot of these, owners that have owned businesses for decades are, falling behind and falling off simply because they don't know what to do. So I feel like this exposure, and especially with you, is an important aspect because, you can bring light to a subject where some of these business owners are standing there, with their hands tied and don't know a direction and really don't have an idea of how to get through this scenario.
Yeah, I think if you're able, especially if you're another business, kind of utilizing if you've got a way to make some kind of revenue, if you've got a way to keep going, if you can kind of put a hand out there and help other people who are hurting. We've got a coffee company, Quinto Coffee, that operates out of our tap room in the morning, and he does most of his business people coming in and doing lattes and coffee drinks. But he's had to obviously majorly shift that just because that's not as big of a priority. And so he's majorly changed his business to doing a lot more packaged whole beans to go.
Yes.
He's really kind of focused on his coffee subscription. He's provided, he always provides great coffee, but he's tried to find a way to roast some beans that are a little bit more affordable to kind of do like brown bag specials for people.
Right.
And we've got him attached to our website now so people can get their coffee and beer one place. Besides being a brewery and selling our beer in our tap room, we've always carried local wine and local spirits. And I'll admit a lot of that stuff disappeared pretty quickly just to us and our employees when we were kind of figuring things out. But we were finally able to afford to restock. So we brought in some more wine just because they're hurting almost more than we are because their tasting room is further out. It's not as convenient.
Right.
For people to get stuff directly. So we brought some wine in from them. We just, end of last week and this week brought in more spirits from a whole bunch of our local distilleries. And just because we've got that place that if people are already coming in, maybe we can also help sell and keep things moving for some other local businesses. And just trying to stay positive.
Yes.
It's definitely, my personal life is very different. I've mostly self-quarantined myself because we've got 3 kids. My wife has been moved to working from home. She works for the government. Our kids' childcare normally was my mother and my mother-in-law, but because of health concerns for them and their age, we decided very quickly that we didn't want them, going out more than they needed to, especially since I couldn't totally be quarantined.
Right, correct.
So new schedule is I've got the kids in the morning and try and get as much work as I can do while also having 3 kids until my wife clocks out in the afternoon, and then we kind of switch. Then I can get a little bit more stuff done. I'll go into the brewery late at night or early in the morning or on the weekends when no one else is there. But I've got a really great team. Most of our employees have been with us since we started, and they're just dedicated and they're special. And so it's I have full faith and trust in them, but it was kind of a weird transition for me to kind of give over some things that I would usually do to them to give them something to do during this time.
Correct.
But
go ahead.
It's just it's gonna be interesting even as we kind of reopen. We do a big beer festival in the fall, and it's not until September. But it's another one of those things where it's like, surely we should be at least closer to being open by then. But at the same time, even if everything opens up right before then, I don't really want to be the organization that hosts a beer festival that brings thousands of people together in one place. I don't want to be one of the first people to do that, especially if you've ever been to a beer festival. You have a tasting glass and you're handing it back and forth to all the breweries who are filling it for you. And it's just the least ideal.
It is a cesspool for germs.
It's a tough call because we raise so much money for a local Raytown Kiwanis club, and so we don't want to just shut that resource out from them.
Right, absolutely, and you're providing so many facts and concerns that other local businesses haven't got to voice, and I think that this is an important time to go back to your roots a little bit and realize that and this is something that with myself and you included, even with Casey King Radio and Crane Brewing Company partnership. is a key aspect to business. And this scenario right here shows all local businesses that, in a sense, it takes all of us, you, everyone working together, to make this economy work. And especially right now, getting back to your roots and, family and integrity and innovation. This is an extremely innovative time. And so I guess it's just important to have that foundation and have somebody who's, aware of change and partnership and moving forward, to bring some light to this subject, because it really is a dark period. And, even me at times, I'm left with my hands up wondering what's next and where the economy is going. So just the partnership that you're displaying right now with these other companies, the delivery, the carry outs, all those things, it just proves that, integrity and partnership is a key aspect to the community and the economy. And this is probably the most important time for all of us to utilize those resources and really not be scared to reach out for either one, help or just direction of some kind. So, Chris, I know, your thoughts behind this, because you display, you're very vocal about them, and it's very appreciative. So I just feel like, your thoughts can really be innovative. And is there anything that you have, moving forward, any type of advice for businesses or anything like that to really just keep things moving? Because you haven't quit. I mean, it is one thing after another. You're on it, no matter what you have to do, web page services, curbside, pickup, whatever it is. Is there anything moving forward that you would just, hey, businesses, local Kansas City businesses, check this out? If I could say anything to you, this would be it.
I'm hoping one thing I love about the industry I'm in, it's one of the reasons early on I realized it's absolutely where I wanted to be, is it's a very tight-knit community of other businesses. So most things, most industries, you say you want to start a business, you reach out to other people and you say, hey, I like what you do, I want to do it too. They say, well, good luck figuring it out on your own. Depending on what is the level of competition. With breweries, every brewery owner I talked to when we were first starting, it was, come over, have a beer, let's see what we can do to help you. And even now, as tight as things are, it's still that way. Literally minutes before you called me, I was on a call for another brewery, kind of looking into starting home delivery, and he had some questions, and so we're still, checking in with people, bouncing ideas off each other, especially with everything moving to go. We're all in our own little areas of the city right now. There's not as much direct competition anymore.
Makes a lot of sense, yes.
One thing that's amazing, and I can't thank the guys there enough at Diametric and Lee Summit, they had the idea, and it kind of came up really quickly, and they've thrown it together, and this weekend will be the third run of it, but they created an event called Together We Can, and they basically, everyone was having, all breweries were hearing this. We had customers who were like, I love all my local breweries, I want to support them all. I'm doing my best to kind of drive from brewery to brewery and buy a little bit from each one to support them. And so they had the idea, what if we, we'll talk to the state, we'll figure out what permits we need. What if we brought as many local breweries together to one spot, keep it safe, make it drive-through only, keep it, all the POS and the menus and everything, keep everything totally sanitized, make it efficient. What if we got everyone together? And so they've done that there, and they're doing all the legwork. The breweries basically drop off all the beer, they inventory it, they put it in their POS system, and then they put it online like 24 hours before the event. People can pre-order their stuff, and then it's just a very quick process. They don't get out of their car. They just pull the car up, open their trunk. People put load them up with what they've purchased, and they're on their way. And that's been a lifesaver for us and a lot of breweries around town. And that's just something we try and do. And so I'm hoping, what I was getting is, I'm hoping other industries who maybe they weren't as close-knit, maybe there wasn't really a network that they were a part of, maybe they can kind of build those.
Right.
Maybe they can reach out to other people that they do and say, what are you doing? Here's what we're doing. and keep those local industries going.
Yes, and I do want to mention a local foundation that has gone nationwide, and this is just for local connections of any kind, sort of business investment wise. There's a foundation called 1 Million Cups, and it is funded by the Kauffman Foundation. And like I said, they are nationwide, but that is a foundation, that helps small businesses and it helps grow a network and partner up with other networks, to create this innovation that you and I are talking about right now. So, not only is it important, to have a clear vision and focus on the future, no matter where the economy is, but also utilizing the tools that are, put before you by the community and by these different foundations, especially Kauffman Foundation. If you're a Kansas City resident and lived there most of your life, you know exactly what the Kauffman Foundation is, and it just takes doing some research and reaching out to these foundations, and really starting a partnership or just a relationship with them. Chris, I'm not sure if you're familiar with 1 Million Cups.
It's been years, but I actually went and spoke in front of them, and it was after the business had kind of gotten started, and so it was more, and they invited me out to talk, but it was more of like an intro for my business rather than the kind of the startup side that I know a lot of the discussions are. They do a great job of, even if you're in the very early stages of starting your business and you want to go and talk and present, they've got a room full of intelligent people in different fields and who can give you really quick feedback on or advice on what you're doing. And so I was very impressed by that.
Absolutely. I actually spoke for 1 Million Cups as well. I did that last July. And so, yes, that was a really great opportunity for me as well. And like you said, it's really just to give your, and I wouldn't necessarily give your pitch, it's to give your backstory on why you're doing what you're doing now and the integrity behind your business, to build those relationships within the community. And you never know who's sitting in that audience who can, lend a hand or who's an investor or anything like that. So, yes, don't be scared to reach out to these organizations, Kansas City. There's plenty available, even during this time. And I know that 1 Million Cups, they don't have anything virtual as far as giving your pitch. But to get the ball rolling, this would be a great time. A lot of businesses don't have anything, I don't want to say don't have anything better to do, but this is a time to be innovative. I mean, we are forced into this. So, yeah, really do your research and see what's available to you as a small business there in Kansas City. Because, Chris, like you had mentioned, Kansas City is a bigger city, but it's a small community. And, within the brewery community, there's all this help and people welcoming entrepreneurs with open arms. And, that should be the same in every industry, because if you scratch each other's back, I mean, the sky is the limit. And, like you're doing right now, Christopher, you all are keeping each other afloat. So that's the awareness, behind what's going on. And so I guess the most important thing for this is to stay innovative, change with the times, change with the economy, change with the quarantine. Just give yourself an opportunity to thrive in a time that otherwise, we look at as, possibly depression, but you have to figure out a way to maintain this scenario. And there's actually light at the end of the tunnel, Chris. I think that's a huge thing. I'm not sure if you watched, the president address the nation tonight, but there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel, and that, gives me more confidence as a business owner, and I'm sure you as well. Kind of talk about that a little bit. Does it seem like things are picking up a bit, or is this kind of something that's maintaining and hasn't really shown any signs of a break for the beer industry?
It's kind of early, but because we are, changing a lot of our plans, we are getting some things moving that will work better for the situation right now.
Right.
So like, normally when we're brewing new beers, we're brewing batch sizes to meet all of our markets. And because we don't have that available, it's kind of giving us time to do some smaller batch stuff that we know that will move well in smaller quantities through the tap room, kind of stretch out, be creative,
right,
do some beers that we've never really done before.
There we go.
Because we don't have that concern of, just hitting that peak volume. And it's tough also. I think I tell people it's kind of a balance for us because you making certain choices right now in the short term that might benefit you right now. When things do get going up again, you don't want to. It's trying to figure out what you can do that's helpful now, but won't screw things up in the long run when everything does get going again.
Right.
So, like one thing we did talk about was us doing direct home delivery. We had that all set up, and then we talked about it more that night, my partners and I. And we suspended it. So we had posted on a Monday that we were going to start home delivery on a Tuesday, and had a great number of orders placed, and people were really interested. But we kind of talked about it and decided, this is something that'll be huge for us now. This could really save and help what we're doing. But in the long run, we've got distributors, our partners can sell our beer throughout the market. We don't want, we want them to still be able to sell beer that they still have in their warehouse. We want our local liquor stores and grocery stores to still be able to sell our beer. Mm-hmm. So we suspended it. We said, maybe it's something we'll reconsider down the road if things get worse. But at the meantime, we don't want to make a decision just too quickly like that if it could factor things later on. What else? Yeah, I think there is hope. I think it just says this has been like the longest month of my life, and
I'm sure
the idea that we have another month to go as things become more normal. Hopefully, people are finding different outlets. I think everybody kind of spent that first week just kind of in a slump, and I've talked to friends and people in other businesses who have kind of found a new schedule, a new routine. Even if they are stuck at home. To try and be productive, and I think if everyone can do that, little things like taking a shower,
right,
getting dressed, I think that's really important.
It's and as maintaining somewhat of a routine, in a time period where our routine has been thrown off dramatically, almost to a point of being stagnant, and for everybody in the economy, that's not a reality that we can come to terms with, because it's not a scenario where anyone can sit on their hands and just wait for something to happen. So, Chris, you've brought some really great analysis and ideas to the table this evening, and that's really what it's all about, is just realizing the times are hard right now, and every day, like you have done, it's been trial and error. There's things that are going to stick. There's things that, are going to fall by the wayside. And like you said, you posted up on your website, hey, we're going to, be doing deliveries. And, by the next day that was suspended. But it's all within the best interest, of Crane Brewing. And so that's something that, all small businesses can take heed and say, hey, this could be an idea, but explore all avenues of it, because at the end of the day, it might not be within your best interest and might not fit back into your original business model that you're going to have to mold back, once all of the virus and everything has settled. So it's just a very interesting time. So, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your information and your facts and what you've been able to do, to keep Crane Brewing open and flowing and realistically serving the community, because that is what it's all about. You're not doing this to, for your health. This is to serve the community, make money, and supply and demand. So, this is going to be posted on lots of different business platforms for many viewers to see. I look forward to more companies reaching out and saying, hey, we would really like to come on here and voice some of our concerns and, our opinions and what we're doing with our business model to kind of mold and shape it into the times. And this is your chance, Kansas City small business owners, reach out. This is also a way to connect with one another and develop bigger business relationships. So, Chris, I really, really, really appreciate you coming on this evening. I hope that you, got out everything that you wanted to, and this was kind of, a great way for you to get some stuff off your chest, because I know it, like you said, the last month has been the longest month of your life, and sometimes you just need to vent a little bit and talk to some other KC business owners and put your heads together. So this is kind of my way of connecting all of you, and I really hope that you enjoyed this and appreciate the thought behind this.
Absolutely. No, I can't thank you enough. I mean, kind of put it back on you. Again, it's super impressive that you two were kind of changing and using the platform that you have and what you built to help other people. It's really great. Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And that is really what it's all about. Folks, that is Christopher Meyers, owner of Crane-Brewing-Company there in Kansas City. If you are familiar with the Champ Stamp beer, that is the beer that really commemorated a guy who put the Champ Stamp tattoo on him, which I'm sure a lot of you in Chiefs Kingdom are familiar with. And those some of those proceeds go to the 15 and Mahomes Foundation. So there's great causes within this business. Please support your local businesses. All this is run directly out of Kansas City. Crane Brewing Company is absolutely local. There's no back end of their story that reaches out to any other demographic. Kansas City, please support Crane Brewing Company and all these local businesses. And like I said, I've said this a lot tonight. This is strictly to raise awareness and get your word out there as a local business, and keep everybody informed and intact as a community and a network. So Kansas City, I really, really appreciate your time, and I look forward to the next local business coming on. Christopher, I appreciate your time as well. So with that, I'm going to end this broadcast tonight. Kansas City, you keep your head up, and we will continue to be innovative and make moves throughout the economy to get things back in the right direction. So, hey, let's have a stress-free night, Kansas City, and I will speak with you soon. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Radio, your go-to podcast for everything Kansas City Chiefs.